Hey everybody, it's Denise from Croneposse, and I'm doing my second vlog today, and I was thinking about some of the things that I said yesterday and wanted to talk a little bit further about those today. And one of them was just about taking early retirement with Social Security, and so I know it's quite a bit lower that I'd be getting if I quit earlier as opposed to later, but I wanted to get something more coming in. And so my plan is still to try to get a job, full or part-time, and then work on a YouTube channel to hopefully bring in some extra needed income that way. And so I've just been listening to some other vlogs, and you guys have all planned things so cleverly and carefully, and I must admit, I was always the same way, and I'm always trying to make sure I've got a safety net along the way, one or two safety nets deep, just in case of, what can I say? I was raised by depression survivors, and so it affected, my growing up in a household of 7. So there was very little waste, I guess, and kind of short of food sometimes. So what can I say? I grew up in a very sparse environment, yet we were cared for with necessary items. And so I feel guilty trying to take care of myself by, leaving the workforce like this, and possibly putting myself and my husband in financial jeopardy. And so one of the things I haven't mentioned is that my husband is not a U.S. citizen, and I'm sponsoring him to come to this country. And so we have been married many years now, over 20 years. And so we've been, in this immigration journey, for years. And so we're up on the very last step, where we're in the lottery now to get the appointment to go to Ciudad Juarez to have the final interview. However, I still have to pull in $24K in order to prove that I can support my husband. And so ordinarily that's never a problem because I make decent money. And so my husband also pulls his share, though under the table at this point. So when initially we met, my husband was working with the union with forged papers, and so no one was the wiser. However, this was many years ago, before 9/11, and so we continued even after we were married to have a very decent standard of living and savings for many years, until probably around 2014 or 2015. And so then everything kind of came crashing down. However, it was never a problem for us to exist because I had decent money coming in and benefits. And so I could take care of him. And so he always managed to find work. Like I said, he's a very hardworking person. He's very personable and friendly and honest. So I think people get a good feeling for him. And he's worked the same jobs now since back in 2015. And so he's added to his clients. And so he is keeping us afloat right now. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that I'm in a position right now that I have not been in previously in my life, and I've always relied on myself. And I've never had a problem getting jobs. Prior to COVID, I would be sending out 2 resumes, maybe for 2 listings, and I'd get 2 interviews, and one of them would hire me, a lot of times right on the spot that day. But since COVID has ended and we've been out there again, it's been a completely different experience. And so you're doing interviews on Zoom, and then a second interview, possibly a third, and then you don't hear anything because we've got this AI now that's going through our resumes. So you have to make your resume match the listing. So there's very little thought process because there's not really human eyes on every single resume that's going out there. So a lot of times I'm able to bypass this, and so I'm able to get some nice interviews with reputable companies because there's actually a human person that's vetting the resume so they can see what they're dealing with, and they reach out to me. And so I don't know why. Like I said, I have had a couple of opportunities that were planning on being full-time this year. But again, neither one of those experiences worked out. And probably in years past, I would have put up with some of the character quirks of some of these people that have hired me. And I'm finding that the older I'm getting, I have less patience with, dysfunctional or rude, disrespectful people that in the interview process, I've realized they're telling me what I want to hear. And then once they've got you there, it's like any other relationship. Once they've got you tied down, they think you're going to accept any kind of, treatment that they want to give you, and they want to hang over you. And I don't know. I don't know what, these people are thinking. They're just going to make you a prisoner and tie you to a desk. So I like to work alone and unsupervised, and I'm capable of getting the job done, and they can see that from my resume. So I have some other stories. I don't want to spend too much time telling these stories, but they are quite funny. I mean, and some bizarre circumstances that it's so weird that you cannot make it up. And so I'm one of those people where, I will have these everyday experiences sometimes that I'm sure people think I'm making this shit up and I'm a huge liar, but I've had some very bizarre experiences with people, and I have no idea why. And so I just started thinking, like, maybe I should try to, make some money off of some of this stuff. And I thought of writing a book, and I was writing a one-woman show for a long time and working on it. And I also sing, so I had songs and these monologues. They were all based on actual events. I had one that was just job interviews, like crazy things and it was always women that were interviewing, that just very, insensitive and rude, left-handed kind of quote-unquote compliments that they would just put out there. I don't know whether I was kind of triggering something in them, but they would just go off on me with these kind of comments, and it was so weird. Like, I'm here for a job interview, and you lack professionalism, and you're shocked. You don't know how to deal with this because you're coming in there and you're presenting yourself as well spoken. And so that is the other thing that I have noticed has ratcheted up in these interviews. And a lot of times some of these managers or the business owners are frustrated, and they're looking to argue with someone about being on site. They're very defensive about, and the way they communicate it is not hostile, but it's like they think they're gonna, they're kind of telling you seriously and firmly. Like sometimes I feel like they're treating me like I'm a teenager or a young person, and they're gonna put their foot down with me, and it's just very weird because it's like, I need somebody on site, and then they'll turn around and they'll complain about nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. There's nobody out there that wants to work. But that's not true. What am I supposed to say? Anyway, we'll have another episode that's going to be dealing specifically with some of these stories. And so I just want to thank you all for listening. And I'll put out another vlog tomorrow for 10 minutes. Maybe we can get it up to 12 minutes tomorrow. I have so much to say, and I don't have notes in front of me today, so that'll help as well. But I've got my little Westie is here, and he's flopped out and he's waiting for me. So sorry about the lighting in here, guys. Just let me know your thoughts and some of the experiences you've had, you know, in your interview world since COVID. Let me know. I mean, I feel like the whole the the feeling and the vibe, you know, of interviews, you know, has changed significantly. Not only that, but just human actions, you know, in general. And I was reading some article on LinkedIn, I think, where people were actually sharing that they felt like there was a lot of bullying. There's interoffice bullying going on now. And I mean, I have felt that in the interview situation. But I mean, I don't try to call anybody out or act offended. A lot of times it's just, you know, I mean, I've ended interviews where they say, you know, have you got any questions? And I'll just say, no, I've seen everything I need to see. And then the interview ends. And of course, I never hear, you know, from those people. And I wasn't planning on accepting the job anyway. So I must say, it's great to have the freedom and it's great to have the not caring, but I'm already in default on one of my credit card bills. And I've got enough going for next month, probably, maybe the month after. And so, I mean, I've got to get a job in September, so I will have the money so I can continue to sponsor my husband. And so I need to have 24K, you know, worth of income. And so I'm not even halfway there yet with what I've earned because I worked so few months. So we could get another sponsor for him and hopefully his sister would do it. But I just don't really know if all the people that I've turned to, you know, and tried to ask for help have just cold shouldered me. This includes family. I've had a GoFundMe page, nobody. 2 people, you know, $225. Anyway, we'll talk about that next time. So you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your listening and your discerning and getting your eyes on this. Please share. Please like and subscribe if you like this content, and leave your comments below. Kindness, please. And don't let anyone else take your light. Much love, everybody. Mwah.